anti-payoff, the under-payoff boss, so to speak. They can really ruin a whole game's experience. The Slug King in Demon Souls is an example of this. Demon Souls being the launch point for the Dark Souls, the Souls series, the Elden Ring, every Souls game ever from the FromSoftware universe, so to speak. It's not a contrary take for the game that it's a very boss heavy and focused on massive fights to tell stories. Then the final boss of Demon Souls, the first one, the OG, the original DS, is a slug. I know, okay, this has its story reasons. For the game, it prides itself on bosses. It's deflating. Maybe a worse culprit, having maybe the worst payoff bosses in any game, really? We go back to Fable 2. This really being the perfect example, as that game has a solid story full of highs and lows, a good system in place that makes it a great game. The main villain is so hateable. He literally killed your relative and your dog. But in the end, it's maybe the worst payoff boss fight ever, with you just pressing one button and shooting your pistol, bang bang, you're done.
You great big Balverin turd!
Do you want your dog back or the money? If you pick the money, you are evil. Always pick the dog. If you pick the money, you're going to hell. Anyway, the reason why this is maybe one of the worst payoff bosses is because I can barely remember other elements of the story because of how bad this boss was. And if I ever played it again, I don't think I'd even bother finishing it because it was so bad at the end. Even though if you do pick the money, you can kind of go back and just buy everything you want. I can't remember the third option. But I didn't pick the money. I brought back the dog. I definitely brought back the dog. Okay? I didn't bring back the money. The bad thing is that we can have a great experience throughout the whole game, but we can still not have that payoff boss. Let's go back to the FromSoftware world for a minute and let's kind of open this sour jar. Going back to the Souls series again has some of the best endgame bosses ever, but Elden Ring, it missed at the last step, okay? The Elden Beast. Not an actual bad boss fight, but the story payoff is basically a glorified dragon named the Elden Beast, okay? The boss fight has no payoff. Red Dragon, even though it's a complex story, it has such a better payoff. The Elden Beast is very much a letdown, kind of just being a spiritual power that is just the essence of the land. It feels like it should have been something a bit step further, like other Dark Souls games have done. Bloodborne did it. Dark Souls 1 and 3 bosses are also fantastic. Gwen and all the essences of the, what's the soul called? You know, all the essences of the past lords, the past lords I got there in the end, was great. But the essence of the land, for a good story like Elden Ring, it isn't that great of a payoff.